We're here at the Dover Steam Fair at Coldred. Saturday morning, 31st of July. It's overcast, it's cool, it has been drizzling a little bit, but it's actually very pleasant. And we've got an absolutely tremendous site here. It's a huge flat field, and I should think there must be a good 10-15 acres, something like that. It's currently 11:17 a.m. and the vintage tractors are on display, and you can hear the announcer in the background there. Give you the sound for a minute. And it's a beautiful, beautiful site here. Huge tents everywhere, loads of refreshment stalls, a big fairground, which the steam fairs tend to always have. This is a really nice big fairground, got all traditional features on it, and got the classic cars as usual. I can see lined up there. They're lovely. A couple of classic buses as well. And it is a really lovely, pleasant sight, and it's going to be so enjoyable wandering around here. And as I do so, I'll talk to various people, and so you'll hear those fairly shortly. I'm among the classic cars here, and there's one owner I'd particularly like to talk to. Could I ask you your name, sir?
It's Alan West.
Alan West, and you are the owner of possibly the most gorgeous classic 3.4 Jaguar that I have ever seen. It is absolutely immaculate. Is that it looks a very dark British racing green, is that so?
That's correct, yes, yes.
Well, if I might observe, and you will know much more about this than me, but if I may observe, the bodywork is gleaming. It looks like it's, you know, comes straight out of a showroom. The leather inside is absolutely lovely cream leather, unmarked. The wood is gleaming. There's not a scratch on this. It's got the most gorgeous gleaming wire wheels. I mean, I've never seen, as a bit of a Jaguar man myself, I've had a few Jaguars in the past. I don't think I've ever seen a better example.
Well, this car was totally restored in around about 1990 in New Zealand. The car originally went to New Zealand when it was new in 1960 and spent all his life there until the company called Beecham in New Zealand specialised in buying up old Jaguars there and rebuilding them to a very high standard, and they either sell them then into Japan or back into the UK. And this car came back into the UK fully rebuilt in 1991 and sold at that time for £40,000. And since then it's had two or three owners who have used it and abused it a little bit mechanically. And I've done quite a lot of mechanical work on the car, and it's now running very, very well. And but I didn't pay anything like £40,000 for it. It cost me around about 21.
Well, I would say that's a very reasonable price, but on the other hand, you must have done a lot of work on this to restore it to this standard.
Well, it's the bodywork was already very good. It just needed a good clean and polish and tidying up in little areas. And basically, the other thing I've done is the wheels are good because they are new, and I've changed the wheels because the ones that came with it when I bought it, they were wire wheels, chrome wire wheels that were made in India, and after nearly 20 years, they were beginning to lose some of the chrome on the spokes in particular. Yes. And I decided to bring the car back up to the condition, best condition. It needed new wheels, which I've done.
Yeah. Well, it seems to me it is amazing, considering, you know, the age of the car and the way it sort of travelled all around the world.
It's been around the world a little bit, yes.
It's incredible it can be in this condition, but it just shows, I suppose, what loving care and restoration can do. I mean, this car looks absolutely mint brand new, doesn't it?
It is. Oh yes, it's probably better than it left the factory in many respects. But there is some wear and tear on the mechanical parts, but you expect that in an older car. But generally, yes, it's as good as it left the factory.
Yeah. Do you find that these days you can replace cars like replace parts for cars like this with parts that are better than the original ones?
I wouldn't say they're better than original. They're certainly the equal to original, and some you can still pick up original parts, believe it or not. Old stock that's been kept from the 50s and 60s for these older cars, they still turn up. Old garages, they close down and they have a clear out, and then you find out in the loft or something there's got all these maybe door panels or bonnets and bits of chrome and even mechanical parts and wearing parts.
And of course there are so many thriving classic car clubs, aren't there? Are you a member of any Jaguar Classic Car Club?
Yes, I'm a member of the Jaguar Enthusiast Club, which is probably one of the best, in my opinion, club to belong to, and through the club...
the Jaguar Owners Club might dispute that, but...
well, through the club there's a lot of technical help through the Jaguar Enthusiast Club, and a lot of advertising in the club magazine, and that's one way of picking up spare parts again.
Yeah. Well, I'm so enamoured of this car. Would you mind if we walked around it and you could sort of maybe point out any particular things you think are of interest with it?
Well, when Beecham rebuilt the car, one thing they did was to upgrade certain things. There are now central locking on this car, which is a very useful feature. They also upgraded the gearbox to a later gearbox with a full synchromesh gearbox, which is much nicer than the original one that it was supplied with.
I just find the dashboard is, of course, unlike modern cars, that's a solid chunk of wood, isn't it? From somewhere sourced deep in the jungles of Malaysia or something.
Well, no, it's not come from Malaysia. It's walnut, in fact. It's walnut and or burr walnut, and that's what gives it the nice pattern on the grain and everything. But yes, it is wood all through on the door cappings. Even you can't see from here, but it's over the top of the doors as well, all along the top of the doors. Yeah, that was all refinished, but it's just a varnish finish basically.
Yeah. And to get the leather restored to this condition, is it a Connolly restoration?
It's a Connolly leather that they've used, yes. But that again was done in New Zealand, but they buy it in bulk quantities of Connolly leather and make it up as required to the original specification and design.
Okay, well, to be honest, I could talk about this car for a long time. I suppose I've got to move on and look at other things. But I should have mentioned, you know, the shape, for those who are not cognizant of all the Jaguars. This is the typical sort of Inspector Morse shape, though the colour is different.
It's a Mark II. It's a Mark II Jaguar. That's.
And what is the year exactly? Original year?
1960 original. The engine is now being changed when it was rebuilt. It's a 1963 engine, but it's the same engine basically. Yeah. It's,
okay. Well, I can't stop drooling over this car, but I suppose we'll maybe an appropriate moment to end the conversation. Thank you very much indeed.
You're welcome.
And now we're listening to the vintage motorbikes. Vintage motorbikes going round. Oh, we're going to be drowned out here, but never mind. Let's see if we can get the sound of the bikes going by. That's a vintage PSA. Right now, one of the features of most steam fairs is this marvellous little model steam railway that goes along a straight length of track, and it has some seats at the back for kids to sit on. And this one, I noticed, is a especially lovely little steam engine. Got these dinky little bits of coal in there, marvellous firebox, loads of steam coming out of the funnel. And can I ask the